Y'all are ready.
Ready.
All right, the thing that stands out the most to me is it's hard. I haven't walked back here and lost many games. We haven't lost many games where we punched out 18. At the end of the day, they jumped Carly. They got that 5 spot, and we definitely had our chances. I just talked to our guys. It's early in the season, but we preach to them all the time how batting average doesn't matter. Batting average or success with runners in scoring positions, what matters. We're hunting RBIs and we're hunting runs. And we had those opportunities. I told him, I said, what we've got to be better at is, okay, the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Was it the 4th or 3rd? 4th inning. That's baseball. It's going to happen. I felt like after that we didn't have the at-bats, innings 5 through 9, maybe because of that. I felt like they were living in the past a little bit, and we talk about how important it is not to do that. So we have to be better at that, and we will. You got to give credit to them. But man, I thought Will Sandy and Kevin Acey were phenomenal. We need them to be really good for us. We thought they were going to be really good for us. They had a slow start, and I thought they were both extremely aggressive. And I thought that's big for our pitching staff, because at the end of the day, you're not going to hit your way to Omaha. You got to pitch and you have to defend. And I know that I really felt like we could have won that game, as much as it started off not like we wanted it to. So we'll come out tomorrow, and it'll be even tougher with 18 innings.
And you said coming in the preseason that you were really impressed with what Sandy was giving you, and he really showed it again here. I mean, he was your Saturday starter at the beginning of the season. Yeah. He's done nothing to really show anything different, right?
He wasn't great as a starter, so we decided to make that change and put him in the bullpen. In his last outing, were better strikes. But the thing that separated him early, his velocity was good, and he was ultra aggressive. And I think what happened with Will is he just wanted it so bad. There is such a thing as trying too hard, that he was trying to place the ball a little bit instead of just doing what he had done the whole preseason. That was the first time I'd seen him look like he did in the preseason. He was aggressive. And a big example of that was after he gave up that long home run to Galoff. The next guy wasn't a big deal. The old Will Sandy, you got to take him out after that. And we need a guy like that's older, that can pitch out of our bullpen. That's got some power, and his off speed is actually a little bit better than Dalton's. So that's going to be big for us, as well as Kevin.
You've talked in the past about Will's stuff, maybe not playing as well out of the pen as compared to being a starter. Is that something that's maybe changed a little bit over the offseason, or?
That's why we started him, because he looked so good, and he had done both. But right now with those other 3 guys, I think Will can do anything. Yeah. And again, if there's somebody that deserves success, it's Will Sandy. I mean, everybody's going to be pulling for him. He's a phenomenal teammate. He's a phenomenal leader. So that's big for him, but also really big for our team, because I think Will Sandy can help us.
And it could have been a lot worse. You had inning-ending strikeouts to leave runners on base 3 straight innings, early. And then it happened again in the 8th.
Yeah, no doubt. And it could have been worse for them. I mean, that's the way I looked at it. We had the bases low with no outs, and I know Colby struck out, but then you got 1-2. We got the heart of our order, and the top 3 today struggled. And not that means you're going to lose when the top 3 struggle, but you got to have, as Coach Williams says, players got to play. That's what Roy used to always say. Your best guys, they got to perform in these big games, but there's no doubt in my mind they will.
They had to break in the 6th hole. What was thinking there?
It was a tough matchup with him, with Parker, we thought, because that slider really is down and away. And Vanderbrake said, well, I'll show you that it's not a tough matchup. And he turned it around right out of the gate. But, I think he can hit anywhere. He's a tough kid, and it's been awesome to see what he's doing, for sure.
Were your hitters overly aggressive at times?
I don't think so, honestly. I don't know if I'd use the word overly aggressive. I would say they came away from the approach that they need to have. I think when you leave the bases loaded like that, it's a frustrating game. I was a player, you try to score all those runs yourself, but you can't. A solo home run's a solo home run. And you have big innings by getting base runners and then somebody, hitting a double. So I would say it was more just getting a little bit away from the approach that we needed to have, especially against Barry, their lefty.
Story of the season, especially in some of those losses, has been the struggle of the bullpen. You have a guy like Carlson tonight. He only lasts 2 innings. You see 6 runs. I'm sure some people are worried maybe this gets blown open. I guess how proud were you of the bullpen to, come in? What'd you learn
Yeah.
from Sandy and Kevin tonight and how they finished it out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge bright spot. And I'm a big believer in looking at the positive things. Obviously you don't want to have too many losses you have to learn from. But for me, I'm looking at it more of, how are we playing as a whole? Because hitting's the hardest thing to do in baseball. And if we're pitching and we're defending, we should be in every game. And Carly, just unlike Carly, it's not an excuse, but he was under the weather, but he felt like he could pitch. He still had good stuff. They just jumped him, and he did not have his changeup today. It was cutting, and that thing is usually arm side, and he had no arm side fastball command. If you can't throw it arm side to Virginia, you can be in a lot of trouble.
What, do you just have a cold or something, or what?
Yeah, just a mild little fever, like sinuses and stuff, but he was fine.
Coming
but-
into a Friday where you got a doubleheader the next day, is there any different approach when you're looking at your pitching staff on a Friday game?
No, you try to win Friday. But obviously when you go down like that, you're like, okay, we're not going to use Poster, we're not going to use Peterson, we're not going to use Maddie. And we need guys to keep us in the game because we're pretty offensive. And they did that. And we had our chances. I mean, we had first and second again, maybe the fifth or sixth inning, or two more times, I want to believe, with no outs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And all it takes is one big knock. And as powerful as we are, our guys, if they get away from their approach and they're just trying to pull home runs, they're going to get eaten up because we want those home runs to happen because you have the right approach. So hopefully we'll learn from that.
Kind of flip the script from the first three losses. Nice start, bullpen doesn't go so well, and then just the opposite tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. And sometimes that happens to a Friday night guy. I've seen it happen with Alex White, one of the best we've ever had. And I think Carlson's a legit Friday night guy. He'll be better because of it. But I am proud of our bullpen because in our league, if somebody doesn't bridge the gap, it can get ugly on a Friday, and you can have no shot to win that game. And if you look at the numbers, if we lost it, we should have lost it 7-6. It shouldn't have been 7-3. We should have scored way more than 3 runs. And we didn't put any pressure on them because it's easier to pitch 7-3 than it is 7-6. If we scratch a couple more across, you get in the 8th and the 9th inning and you're only up 1, you're only up 2. It's a lot different. So we need to do a better job of that offensively for sure.
One more.
There was just a moment there in Johnny's at bat where it kind of looked like a guy who just hasn't had a whole lot
Yeah.
of plate appearances so far. But then he really put together a pretty solid at bat there. Just where do you kind of feel like where he's at, and just the idea of trying to get him some live action against pitching? I know it's kind of tough how much depth there is to just kind of how are you guys just kind of approaching that right now?
Yeah, it's not easy because we got some other guys that we like too that hadn't had many at bats, and it's a timing issue. You saw it with Berto, and you see how now he's really starting to. Now Berto's stronger than Johnny, but you got to get those at bats to get your timing back. And in Johnny's defense, he hadn't had many of those because the other guys have performed. But I thought that was a good at bat for him, something he can grow off of for sure.
Thanks,
Yep.
Coach.
See y'all tomorrow. Hopefully.